we are back live today. This is a special one, a little bit later than I normally do, but today is going to be a Pittsburgh in-person recap of their meetup that Jack from Jack's Business Talk put together. But we're also having a special first time on my channel. Hopefully, we don't get canceled after he makes his appearance. But we got Yasik on. So, morning, fellas.
Good morning, Mark.
Well, I don't know if it's morning, actually. Afternoon for you folks, right?
Afternoon,
Yeah.
evening.
All right. So maybe quickly, Yasik, give us a quick who you are, I guess where you're located, and maybe your investing journeys.
So my name is Jacek from Northern New Jersey. Started investing in 2012 in multifamily in Northern New Jersey. So I'm looking to invest in Pittsburgh in the near future.
All right. So you're looking to invest in Pittsburgh, and apparently we just had a in-person meetup put together by Jack from Jack's Business Talk. So, Jack, why don't you kind of quickly talk about that, the meetup, what the reason for having that, and what your thoughts are? Are you going to put together another one, things like that?
So how it went was Friday. We met up at the Gateway Clipper. I thought I really like the Gateway Clipper. I want to keep that in for the future ones to answer your question. So yeah, we're thinking about doing another one. I really like the Gateway Clipper. It kind of gave us a chance to like get to know each other a little bit before getting into stuff. Even some of the speakers were telling me afterwards that they were nervous, but they really weren't nervous speaking afterwards because they felt like they were in a group of friends versus just talking to a group of strangers. So Gateway Clipper's gonna stay. I liked how we had the setup at the where the speakers were presenting. I I'm kind of torn on whether we're going to use them again next year, and nothing against them by any means. I was thinking maybe next year, maybe doing a pavilion maybe, or we'll just do the same thing. I haven't decided on that part yet. Then Saturday we did the bus, and we did Mount Washington. Afterwards, we went to Panera. All that turned out great. Sunday, you know, we did the group I was in did Mexican War Streets. The group that Jacek was in, they rode around with Steven, which actually I don't know if Steven actually told me where all you guys drove around to, so that'd be interesting to hear that. And then we met up and we did what's it called, the Pig campus for their cathedral learning. We did their cathedral learning. Oh, and on Saturday we also did the strip.
Very, very cool. Yeah. So from what I've heard, a lot of people gave good feedback. They thought it was a great event, especially for the first time for you putting it together. But Yasek, you also mentioned you're from Jersey. That's where your investing journey kind of started. So why Pittsburgh, or why pivoting possibly?
So pivoting for our markets is getting a little out of control. As we've been hearing on many channels, though many people from your community and our community are partners with, Northeast is still a seller's market. So to purchase a property that will cash flow, it's nearly impossible with a down payment unless you put it full cash. So Pittsburgh seems like a great area, and more specifically for me and a couple other people from the Pittsburgh meetup, Butler, which is a little out on the outskirts of it, seems like a good cash flowing and then small appreciation game in the future too. A very stable market, doesn't have ups and downs.
All right. So before you actually went, well, you've been to Pittsburgh though before, right? You said a
Yes.
long time. Okay. So what was maybe I guess your take when you got there though, this time?
So yeah, back in the day was more of the party kind of type of things. Back in the college days. Definitely different perspective than going meet people that actually want to do the same thing that I want to do, invest out of state, which I think it's a little harder than people that are in their backyard. There's very many things that are unknown to us. so that might be scary. But having Meetup that Jack threw out makes that stuff easier, right? Because you get to meet people in person, you get to see the areas. So I think a lot of people were saying when they were went on the Mexican War tour, when we were driving with Steven, the people that were in the car with us, they pick up the properties that were looking online and to actually see it in person, which makes a very different perspective on it because you get to experience the hills, the parking situation, right, the neighborhood. So open a lot of eyes, I guess, for a lot of out-of-state investors that attended the event.
Very cool. It looks like there's a few people tuning in from your channel, Jack, as you're paired. I see Late Start Wealth tuning in, and I do see Steven Coyote. He says, what's up, Jack? I closed on my first rental on the 20th this month. So cool, Steven. What
Awesome.
market? Yeah, what market are you in? But Jack, so where did the vision of putting together an in-person meetup come from? I mean, what? I mean, it seems like a lot of work to me.
Originally, I wanted to do like, and we've talked about this off camera a little bit. I wanted to do an East Coast ORAT thing, but I just figured I'd never host an event that big, and this would be a good stepping stone into that. And honestly, I learned a lot from hosting it, and it really is crazy about just how great of a community we're in because like I just happened to mention the Mikey at one point because not as many people turned out as was supposed to. I was like, oh, I'm going to eat a few $100s on this bus, and everyone ended up contributing more just so I didn't I didn't have to eat anything, and that's one of the huge takeaways I took away from it. And another moment was as things were winding down, we're standing there, about ready to say goodbye for the first time, and Jacek mentioned, I'm paraphrasing him, something like, he's like it's crazy, we all meet up and we don't have to go like, what's your favorite color? We all just jumped right in. We all started talking because we all been talking for a while, and we all just clicked instantly.
So just to update, Steven saying he's in Texas, so single family. There's not that many duplexes where I live. Let's see. Oh, Johnny Flat Top, thanks for tuning in. I haven't seen you here before, but hit that subscribe and like button, and also jump on over to Jack's channel and subscribe there also. But he says, need movie recommended. Okay, well, but yeah, Jack. So putting together the event, I mean, what was hopefully you were hoping that people would take away from the event, like the people that did attend. Like we do have Mikey, who's in Hawaii, who invested in Pittsburgh. He made that long travel to actually see his properties for the first time. So what were you hoping that people would get out of this event?
I wanted people to understand the layout of Pittsburgh and that it's truly, like street by street, and you can't just focus on zip codes and stuff because like it something we've been saying in the Western PA meetups and stuff is just that the hills and stuff really play a huge role as far as what determines the areas and stuff. And it's hard to explain that through a Zoom call versus actually seeing it in person. And I think everyone understood kind of what me and a few other people have been saying this whole time. And everyone's seems like they're found their areas that they were most interested in, and it's great that they found them. Because it's different for them to ask me, who lives in the area, be like, well, what area should I invest? What are you after? Like, do you want to do rent by the room? I'm going to tell you probably you want to stay with Mexican War Street, Shady Side, and Oakland. If you want to do like me and do a cash flow play and not really worry greatly on appreciation, well, then you want to stick with your Butler, your Armstrong counties, we got some people that are investing out in Beaver County. Those are great plays for that. If you're looking for some appreciation with it, there's a half dozen other areas. So it's great that everyone got to see and get a better idea of what they're going to do, and just to have the nonstop, communication with each other really helped us, unite a strong group in this area.
Yeah, and you also put together a good event on Friday. We had agents, you had an HVAC person, you also even Yasik was able to speak on AI, but you put together a good thing of people. So it wasn't just really, I guess, seeing the neighborhoods. It was also connecting with boots in the ground. So Yasik, what was your thoughts on that, and also being able to speak on AI at Jack's event?
So yeah, I think the meetup on Friday in person at the restaurant was, I think it was very informative. We had people from local area, like you said. Adam was the HVAC contractor from the area, which I think he connected with a lot of investors that already invest in Pittsburgh area that he can help out. We had Alex and then Jeremy speak to us, and having somebody that's not actually just a broker and an agent, but actually somebody that invests in the area. So you had two different types of perspective on it. What it really is, as many people know, real estate agents do lie a lot, right? That's how they make their money, right? By selling. So they're not gonna maybe lie to you, but they would not tell the whole truth about it. So having somebody that's actually an agent and an investor at the same time, I think that was great. Having Jack speak on about landscaping, as we mentioned before, right? The hills and the landscaping makes a huge difference on the property, right? Where you might see as a big cash flow and all that stuff when you run it on the piece of paper on your spreadsheet, but when you go in person and the tenant's turnover is going to be big, you have a huge street that's overgrown, and it's very difficult to remove just because of the elevations and how the streets are. Having those people speak in person and then be able to ask them afterwards. Also, we had a Greg who's a contractor, right, handyman person in the area. So having his perspective, how he likes to deal with investors, how he deals with homeowners, which are two different customer types. I think was great. I think it was a very very well put event from Jack's side for sure.
Well, a lot of credit to you, Jack. But Troy, who's from the school community, is also asking, I've been wanting to host a local meetup in my area, Jack. What was the biggest concern that you had organizing it before and during the event?
I think honestly, it's like, for me, my personality is kind of a lot like Mark's in a lot of ways, where I'm just so laid back that things didn't bother me. Like, I was sitting in the car with Mikey at one moment, and the original bus company canceled on us, and I was on and off the phone a little bit here and there, and Mikey called with this big giant game plan. I'm just like, I already got it taken care of. Don't worry about it. And it kind of blew his mind that, like, I didn't get worked up, freaked out, or anything. It's just, just prepare to be prepare yourself, like, as if, like, you're going to go empty out your 401k and buy 14 units in 1 year, and just prepare yourself emotionally for that, for potentially a train wreck that you're just going to have to keep plugging away at and get through.
Great advice there, Jack. I recommend that for everyone. No, but I think to to Troy's point, maybe also, like, I guess, I know you've been thinking about this for a while, right? And maybe you can give us like a timeline of maybe when things really started coming together, and then would you maybe actually start sooner in planning next time, or did you give yourself enough time, you think?
I think I gave myself enough time. I gave myself about 3 months to get the whole thing put together. And honestly, the la- I'll be honest, like, the last 3 weeks, I didn't have any phone calls or anything really going on until, like, the whole bus company canceled out on us last minute because they couldn't get a driver, and I had to switch companies. But other than that, it was pretty calm. It I had some hiccups with the venue, because I was trying to find a place that served food that you can get some good drinks and stuff, that didn't want anywhere from like 800 plus just to rent a venue, plus food and stuff. So that was kind of my big thing, and it took me like a month just to figure that part out. And that's why next year I was thinking about maybe doing a pavilion because I like cooking and stuff, and we're thinking about maybe doing like 5 different crock pots, and then just grilling burgers and dogs that night. But I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about that because there's honestly nothing wrong with what we did, and I wouldn't mind actually just keeping that part the same too.
So it sounds like you're giving us a sneak peek that there's already going to be another one in the works. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be another one in the works because we kind of focus more along the 79 side of Pittsburgh. If we're to do it again, I I don't know if I would necessarily do the bus thing again. Um, I'm kind of doing a workaround that instead to kind of take a little bit more control over it, so we don't have a last minute cancellation on that again. But I want to kind of focus more on the 28 side of things. So like your big highways are 79, which runs north and north through south, 376, which we basically did 376, going out towards Beaver and stuff, and looping into 79 on the way in to Pittsburgh. So this next time, I'd like to do like your Lawrenceville, work your way up 28 maybe, and you can kind of maybe see like some of the areas I'm in that aren't Butler, and we can work our way back coming that direction. And yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about for next year's event.
So on that point, and this may be the tough part, we're going to let Jacek give his input here. So since you did attend in person, is there any maybe advice in improving on the event, or what were your takeaways that you could give to Jack maybe on the next event coming up?
Yeah, so there is something that I think as a group we talked about it earlier too, from the people that showed up, because not many people know what to expect from it. So I think overall the event was put well. He had a lot of the guest speakers and all that stuff. Sunday, walking through the different rooms in that building, different nationalities and all that stuff was fun. The bus, I agree with him. The problem, and I know he's laying back and I'm laying back too. Um, I got my nickname for the Punisher, right? Butler Punisher. So I will call it as it is, right? Having people maybe chip in at the beginning with a higher amount, and then refund people money if they don't show up or whatever. If it's more people showed up, so he doesn't have to put it out. But we were thinking about 15-man packs, right? Because what we did as a group afterwards, when everybody split, we were driving around the areas in the car, right, in the SUV. So maybe not not
Hmm.
not that fast, but 15-person van, having a designated driver to drive there. You can go in a lot more areas than with the bus because of the hills. I would believe so, and then will make less stressful on the organizer to put out all that money. You know what I mean? So that'll be the only two things, right? Collecting money in advance, having a deadline, and then 15-man pack instead of the bus.
Yeah, because like I was even thinking like if we did something like that again, I don't want to do the bus. I would like to maybe do like 3 cars. So if we had like a van and like I haven't asked him, but like maybe Steven Suburban again, and you know I drove one of Cynthia's little Explorer things. I think that would be enough seating capacity, and then we could just do like a Zoom call where we're talking to ourselves through the radios and stuff of the vehicle. It's basically the same thing, but just a little bit different.
And I also keep hearing you guys talk about Butler. So I want to know more about this area of that you guys went to and why there's so much talk of Butler. And is this kind of someplace that you think a lot of the people that attended are interested in?
What would you like to know about Butler?
Well, like I said, it seems to be a lot of chatter about that area of Pittsburgh after everyone finished the event or returned from the event. There seems to be a lot of interest. Did you guys actually drive to that area? So why does it seem like many of the people that went are looking in that area?
Why people are looking in the area, I'm not exactly positive. Um, but as far as numbers go, it's very close to like Ambridge and Aliquippa and stuff without having to, Butler is in a different county altogether. It's so the interesting thing about Butler is it still has a bad reputation, but it's not that environment anymore. Like the reputation it's known for is from like the 70s and the 80s, and it's basically been cleaned up greatly since the late 90s even till today. It's really cleaned up a lot, and its cat its cla- or its cash flow and the numbers are very comparable to Aliquippa and Ambridge. But I think the big thing, what draws people to Butler, and I could be wrong about this, is just because you have someone who's already investing in the area, who is boots on the ground and who already owns rentals there, who they can trust to keep an eye out after their places too. And I could be wrong about that. They might just like Butler.
Okay, so now I have to call Yasik. So the Butler Punisher. So this may be giving away a few things, but it seems like Yasik is interested in that area, and maybe you can dig into a little bit more on why that area has interest for you.
Yeah, so bunch of us went drove it through the night on one of the nights just to see it because from what we heard about Pittsburgh, me and Canadian Steven drove to Pittsburgh on Friday night to the good areas and bad areas. And again, me being from northern New Jersey, right outside of New York City, I would say there's no bad areas in Pittsburgh at all. But again, it's comparison to what I know, right? What I live close to it. So the bad area in my neighborhoods are really bad. Pittsburgh's okay, but Butler again, yeah, we have some people that we know from the community that already invest there. Jack being one of them. But it looks more of the same landscape, right? There's very little hills there. There's one area that's hilly. The numbers work very well. We always hear up and coming. I think it's very up and coming because of all the infrastructures happening. It's a very good connection to Newcastle and Pittsburgh, right? And there's enough inventory on the market, I would say, right? Versus the competition's still not big. Maybe it might be bigger after this live, but Pittsburgh has a lot of competition, right? And we hear on an international level, not only in the national. So there's a lot of out of country investors versus Butler. I don't think you have that much of that going on. So that's why.
No, and honestly, and here's something else about Butler too, is you're kind of having a scenario where the changing of the guards more or less, where you have a lot of investors from back in the days of old.
Oh, we lost your sound. Oh, are you back? Can't hear you right now, Jack. But yeah, Yasik. So maybe you can also touch on, I guess maybe I know Elena may have mentioned, and I think you had kind of that same feeling about just getting to Pittsburgh and just kind of that vibe of the area, I guess, and it's a lot different than maybe these other more affordable markets she was saying.
Yeah. So yeah, the Pittsburgh as a city, the downtown closer to the river, definitely. It's a lively city, right? But it's a quiet city, right? I don't. There's a lot of going on the weekends. So if you have a family, I think be a great place to raise a family there. And if you have that as a one of ingredients, it's a great place to invest, right? Because a lot of people going to want to live there. So from that perspective, you have the universities, right? They have the football team too. So that always helps on the investment side. But yeah, the city felt, I mean, like last time I was there, it was 2007. So a long time ago. And again, as a college bread, I guess. You're not looking for that kind of vibe, but it's definitely came a long way. I'll put it that way, right? And it's still one of the major cities in Pennsylvania. So
Jack, can you say something real quick to see if we have you back?
Yeah, you able to hear me now?
Still not working. Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay. But yeah, some people are tuning in. I see Crack Canvas tuning in, Dylan, but Josh Burdick. So people that are tuning in right now, I'm not sure if you know, we are talking about the Pittsburgh in-person meetup that Jack put together probably what about a month and a half ago already. And
Something like
Yasik
that.
is
Yeah.
investor. Yeah. So Yasik is in New Jersey. He's in the school community, but he's looking to invest in Pittsburgh, in a market that's more affordable, makes more, the numbers make a lot more sense. But yeah, so we're just getting a recap of the event and if there's going to be another one coming up next year. Let's see, was there a cost associated, Jack, that maybe, I don't know if you want to dig too deep into that, but was there an out-of-pocket cost for you? And is there a way that maybe like can make it easier on yourself, I guess, from people that are attending?
I mean, the whole event overall, it broke even for me, in which that's all I really wanted. But I think, like J6 said, knowing what we know now, we can properly plan. We could sell it out, and we could sell tickets in advance. So a lot of the stuff is going to kind of be easier in the second year, I think, and we can just do a lot more like just a lot more better planning, and we can focus on a whole different part of town.
So Jovan, who's tuning in from your channel, Jack, I know he is new to the school community, but he's asking, and if there's another event, he'll be there for sure. Do you have, I don't know if you went over, but is there maybe time you're looking? I know some people are thinking about maybe going, trying to have one in the winter or towards that to see that time of year, but what are you maybe looking at for next year?
I don't want to do spring just because of the ORAP meetup. I think that's too close to each other. And I like the fall. The fall is good. Um, I don't know about the winter, so I have to think about that. Just because in the winter, in the winter, you're going to be limited on what you can and can't do.
That is a great point. I know Yasik probably he's kind of leaning to he would like to see it in that winter time and give people a really good feel for what it's like to. I think that's the thing that's going to catch people off guard. I think quite a bit,
Uh-huh.
right, Yasik?
yeah, so I think because of the people that show up to the first one and seeing the hills and where, especially for the people that already invest there, um, to go in the winter and see it, what it looks like. Because I'm even interested on, there were a couple areas that I don't think you can drive in the winter. Not even so much if it's too much. If you're gonna have like little slippery roads, you're not gonna be able to park on it. Like we talking about very steep hills, so that might get a big difference.
Mikey Buzztune, like I mentioned earlier, he is in Hawaii with me, but he also invested in Pittsburgh like me. But he says hanging out, breaking bread, and talking shop was the best. Getting to know everyone and all motivated action takers. So is that kind of you guys takeaway also from the event?
Yeah, it was great. Meeting everyone who is all in the same mindset and hanging out together. I honestly think that the event would have been a success with so many like-minded people, no matter where we would have had it. Just getting that many people that are driven and all working towards the same goals and stuff together, you're bound to have a good time.
How would you balance social time with structured content or presentations if you're putting it together? The next one, Jack.
How do I balance what again?
Balance. Where did the question go? Balance. Shoot. Balance social time with structured content and presentations. Like, would you try focus more on just like networking type stuff, or actual, or try to get more speakers for next time, or how would you balance things out?
I I like the amount of speakers we had for Friday. I don't think I'm going to change that. I think Saturday was a good amount of like seeing the area and stuff. I think if we would have went much longer, everyone would have been getting ants in the pants. But I think for the most part, like, and I thought about this in retrospect, like it was great showing everyone the strip district, for example. But I think that we could have probably done without it, and I should have thought about a place to actually sit down and us network a little bit more. And Sunday, I thought was pretty good.
Charles Helicopter McCune is saying Pittsburgh meetup in Florida, December 15th. Huh. Okay. Um, let's see. What was my? Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. What would you say, Jack, for the event? Let's see. Where's my next question? You think? Oh, how was it for possibly introverts? Do you think it's a struggle for introverts to go to these type of events, or how would you do anything that would make them feel comfortable in a sense when throwing these events?
I'd say before you even come to the event, okay, come join us in the Western PA call and get to know us. And that way you're not being slammed with trying to meet 20 people at the same time. You might, I mean, you're going to meet new people, but it might only be like three or four, and mostly everyone. So it's not like you're just being overwhelmed all at once.
I believe another person that attended the event is in the chat now. We got, I believe that's Canada, Stephen. I'm not sure. It's hard for me to determine which Stephen that was because there were two of them. But it looks like Stephen from Canada is in the chat, and we also got some great news. I did see he bought his ticket for the Vegas event, the ORAD event in February, so he'll be attending that. But I also want to cover, Flavio always gives shit about having to wear a bulletproof vest when investing in Pittsburgh. So, Yasik, do you think that is true? Or where did this Butler Night Crew, Butler Punisher stuff come from?
So to answer Flavio, never-ending question, I brought an extra vest for him and a helmet. It's not needed in Pittsburgh. The Punisher came from, we were visiting one of the properties that one person from the group was interested in it purchasing. Area, and there were some drug addicts next door that we approached and talked about it. But yeah, Punisher came from talking down to them, I guess, or talking them off from escalating and then moving on to the next. So yeah, no need for it, Flavio.
Yeah, so anyone that's also thinking about investing in Pittsburgh, we also got our own in-house motivational crew. So Yasik leads that. So if you need help for anyone motivating you to get started, hold you accountable. So Yasik is great on that. So we definitely have a good group forming here. And I think that's why a lot of people are starting to look at the Pittsburgh market. We got boots in the ground like Jack. There's the other Steven. A lot of the people we do work with, like Alex, Jeremy, Liam, Omar, Greg, who also spoke at the event. And then we got people like Yasik, who's going to motivate you, hold you accountable. But yeah, and we got like Mikey, who runs numbers really well. So we got a lot of good stuff going in our community. So I think that's why a lot of people are kind of interested in this market. But I don't know. Steven says, got that PVC board up, Yasik?
Yeah, so that was on his house. That's a Pittsburgh Steven. That's not a Canadian Steven. So there was a couple of things. So we were lucky to walk his property. He actually invited us to his house and check out his rental that he lives in and rents it out, and then give him some ideas and pointers of what should be fixed first. From a perspective, I've been in construction most of my time in the States, so yeah, glad.
Uh, yeah, and then we also like so Mikey is having some work, some window replacements done at one of his units. He got a quote. He reached out to someone like Jacek, who's in that field, and Jacek reached out or pointed in some directions and got him a I don't know if cheap or I don't know how to put it, but a very different quote than what Mikey originally got. So like I said, what we're building in Pittsburgh, I think we're putting together a lot of resources and ways for people to win and succeed and leverage off of each other. But Late Start Wealth mentions, as an introvert, when I went to Vegas earlier this year, I felt like I knew more than enough people to be fairly comfortable talking to known and unknown people. We're all rowing the same direction. Yeah, so Late Star Wealth is in Florida. I believe he's going to move to Washington when the time is for retirement, but he's looking to allocate capital in Pittsburgh now because of the affordability and whatnot. So hopefully he's liking what he sees. I definitely think it's more because he can talk to Jack and not me. But I think Jack is a big comfort to a lot of people, having some boots on the ground and whatnot. Um, Anything else you want to add, Jack, about the event? I mean,
I think it was great. I think it was great to meet up and get together with everyone. I know that there's some people that are still talking about it, even the other day, that aren't even interested in investing in Pittsburgh just to meet up with the group and stuff and hang out with the group of investors that we have.
yes, Late Star World says correct on all fronts. Hold on. But yeah, I think that's another thing too, right? People, I think Pittsburgh's a fairly not I wouldn't say easy, but it's kind of in the middle for people and somewhat on that in that area to meet up and then have people connect. And even if they're not, like you're saying, not investing in Pittsburgh, but it's a good way for people to connect and not have to maybe attend Vegas or go to the West Coast to kind of have a ORAT in-person meetup. But what's the next moves for you then, Yasik? Where are you at now in your kind of breaking down the market? What's your next plans, I guess, for what you're looking at?
Yeah, so I was planning to start investing in the early beginning of the next year. I got some personal stuff I'm going through, so once that's settled, I'm gonna start doing it. And I have two separate strategies: one for single family housing and one for multifamily. So yeah, but having boots on the ground and having people that invest out of state and talking to them on a daily or few days a week definitely puts your minds at ease. Because even though I've been investing for a long time here in northern New Jersey, um, we still have worries, right? We still have worries. We still have a lot of questions, and not to get overwhelmed and not to get stuck in it. It helps, I think. And for the introvert question from before, right? Uh, we got a lot of eyes on it. So like if people saw in our community the picture, and I laughed about it because we had a married couple approach us on the when we were in the observatory thing. They were like, where are you guys from and what are you guys doing together? So I joked about it. We're collecting Pokemons, and there's a big Pokemon in Pittsburgh, and then buy it. But it's I wouldn't worry about it because it's again, we nobody knew each other for most of the parts. Nobody ever seen each other in person, and it's been like we knew each other all our lives. So yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, that's one thing great about this community. So even if someone is listening in and they're on the fence about even going to the Vegas event, it's probably going to be very similar. I mean, that's kind of the vibe. These people from the school community, these people from maybe some of the accountability calls, and yeah, you just go there and like Late Start was mentioning, right? You attend this event, enough people, and yeah, hey, hello there. Um, but yeah, it's just a fun time. It's if you're an introvert, I mean, like I said, it's a great place to be and network and communicate. And yes, rolling chairs, you are my number one subscriber. Hopefully, the Bears. Yes, absolutely. Great win yesterday. We earned it. It's been a while. We needed one like that. Um, Charles Helicopter McCune says the time together is valuable. I stood you all up for Dion, Mike, Matt, and Hyder. I would like to see you all in Pittsburgh. Oh, Lynn and Jason. Yes, so Charles went to the Gary, Indiana meetup. Um, in when I think it was around the same time. So definitely Charles. Hopefully they'll get to meet everyone. But I got to meet Charles in Vegas in February. So Charles is a good guy. Him and his wife. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add to this? I mean, we don't have to keep. If you have anything else you guys are working on, you want to touch on, or you want to keep talking about your event, Jack, or what you're working on in Pittsburgh.
I mean, my big thing is what I'm working on is just getting the handyman stuff up and off the ground and going. And I think honestly, it's going pretty well so far.
What
That's kind of what I've been working on, and why probably why I have been on the channel, your channel as often.
Well, we'll touch on that a little bit, right? Because so people may remember you do have a W-2 currently. You've had some videos discussing that situation, and one of your speakers
Mhm.
also at your event was Greg Bailing, who is a handyman contractor, does a lot of good work out
Mhm.
in Pittsburgh. But yeah, maybe dig into that a little bit, like your situation, what's the W-2 situation, and what's next on your plate, I guess.
So the W-2 situation, my boss, basically to summarize the whole thing, my boss slipped up and basically said that I'm reaching the the top part of the higher end of the pay range, and there's some things coming down the pipeline, and they're probably going to look to consolidate. So I'm probably going to end up losing my job in like the next couple of years. So we're probably at like a year and a half by now, and unless I can move up in the company. But after trying so many times to move up and it just never happened, I decided, you know what? I really just can't bear the thoughts of wanting to go leave here and then go work for another production facility. I was like, that's really the only thing I'm qualified to do at this point. And I was just like, you know what? I know how to do so much stuff on housing and stuff. And I got talking with Greg and stuff. And, you throw the landscaping on top of that. And it's like, that there's so much that I'm able to do and so much able to help with people. And then we have a ton of out of state investors that can help with their projects coming in, plus other people too. So it's kind of a maybe like a right situation at the right time, and I'm kind of getting a feeling that it might be time to switch careers and step out of the W-2 environment and just go work for myself for a while.
Well, hopefully, you know, things will be headed in the right direction. I think this event kind of opened your eyes to maybe what you can do, right? As far as the real estate side and handyman, even landscaping side. I think you also sat down with Alex Deacon recently, right? So Alex was one of the speakers also, but he wanted to know more about your landscaping side, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I got to sit down with him and we talked about that, and we talked about a few other things. And yeah, I'm very envious of his little mini recording studio. It was a lot of fun.
Well, like I said, you should ask him if you can use that space, once a month or something, and do some in-person recording with people in Pittsburgh or some vendors or whatnot or agents or whatever to help your business side. Um,
I think I've actually been thinking about making my own little studio and just mimic his, like, use kind of like the same equipment that he has.
and now, like Yasik, I know I'm not saying you're new, but I mean, I would say that there's kind of the OGs of the one rental at a time, right? Right from back in the before school even started. you are a big part of the school community, but I would say, you weren't really there from the before school and whatnot. We didn't know you and whatnot. So, but what would be your maybe big takeaway of the community and the school community?
So I would say, like any other community, you will get what you put into it, right? I was a big lurker for a long time before it. I'm not into social media or anything like that. When I get involved with something, I'm fully involved. I don't like to like just dip my toes in it. So that's why, again, timing, like for Jack, maybe changing into the business, right? We have seasons in our lives. I mean, events, things happens. Um, so that definitely fully involved, and I think I would like to help in our community and help Jack with it to grow the Pittsburgh thing, hold people accountable for it, and use that as a leverage, right? I own the franchise, and all franchising is using the leverage, right? It's all in the numbers, and the more people we're going to have investing, the cheaper it's going to be for other people and easier to get into the investing. So helping others, right? Helping others to help yourself. So definitely you will get what you put into it.
Late start Welt is saying, so Mark, are you saying you are preschool? Then again, so am I. Not sure what he means by that. But Dirty Grandpa is trying to. No, so that's an inside joke. He's gonna hate seeing me in Vegas again. But yeah, like I said, the school community is a great place. It is a lot of fun. Everyone is like you said, rowing in the same direction. But I think there's just something unique about the Pittsburgh one. It's a little bit different than the other groups out there. And I think Jack's a big part of it. Yasek's a big part of it. And like I said, Jack, you're doing a great thing by putting you and Harrison putting together the Thursday and Wednesday accountability call. Putting together an in-person meetup. But can you imagine though, Jack, now putting together this meetup? Can you imagine what Zuber has to go through to put together the Vegas one? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it wouldn't. I think the biggest hurdles, honestly, would be because of the location of it. I don't mean the blind center. I mean just being in Vegas and having such a greater cost to everything. And Zuber does a whole bunch of stuff that I just, I'm not gonna do. Like, like for example, I'm not gonna have professionals recording and setting up sound booth rooms for, I'm not gonna do that. So like, yeah, I think I have more of an appreciation for what Zuber does in doing the event. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff to it that, in his event that I just would not plan. Like, I don't even know, like, where he's going to have all those videos, because he's talking about having Dion do nonstop videos, and there's someone else that's doing videos too, like trying to orchestrate and run all those, it's basically going to kind of be like a controlled, chaotic environment, and it's going to, yeah. So you really need at that point to have extra people that you can come in and like manage some of that stuff.
Yeah, we'll skip BuzzTune's question. But Charles is saying, I would try to leverage my experience at my W-2 for a part-time position and build a consulting handyman company. Helps with financing, Charles is saying, Jack. You ever thought of it that way?
With where I'm at right now, it's either you're full time or you're not there. Like there's no in between within W2. So if I'm going to be forced out, I might as well just go do the handyman stuff, and I can always fall back onto and go get another production job somewhere else. But I want to take this time when I do step out to go get a couple certifications, so that if worst case scenario does happen, it's not like I'm going back and doing the same thing. It's going to be, regardless of what happens, it's going to be a career and a event change. And what I'm doing now is never going to happen again.
Oh, Late Start Wealth is saying, I guess He means preschool, like ORAT before school. That's okay. Now that makes sense. But yeah, so Yasik, what maybe if Butler is not for everyone, there's a lot of people that do see Butler very interesting. Could you name off maybe a few other areas that did have interest for you a little bit, maybe, or that you're kind of impressed with?
Yeah, so for me, yeah, I would stay away from Pittsburgh. I don't yeah, outside of city limits will be for me. But again, it's different for everybody, right? Everybody's gonna be a different place to invest. Do you want to be hands on, hands off, right? Do you want to rely heavily on property management? You want to self manage it, hybrid, right? So there's so many different things. Cash flow. I know a lot of people in community are not so much for cash flow, but for tax purposes, right? So deferring taxes for later time. So there's so many different playbooks, and Pittsburgh has all these different pockets in the city and outside of the city. And believe it or not, there are some areas between Pittsburgh and Butler that are average house is over $500,000 too, right? So you can play all different kind of games. So it's up to the person to decide it. The one thing I would say though, for sure, decide on your buy box, right? Listen to Michael Zuber. He's not saying that because he thinks and he believes in it, right? He lived through it, and then concentrating on the buy box because I've seen a couple of people. Maybe it's this area, maybe it's this neighborhood, maybe it's this zip code, maybe single family, multi. You're gonna waste so much more energy and time, and you're gonna get discouraged doing that versus sticking to your buy box and giving it time to do it. Right? We always say time in the market is better than timing the market, but waiting sometimes it might pay off a lot better too. But yeah, just stick to whatever your buy box is, and right, if you're not buying in this month, next month, might be 6 months, right? But just stick to your buy box. So no very specific area for me.
Very great advice. Hyder says Jack has a full-time consultant in me too. Typing that on record. Hey, Harrison's here. Trey Better 99 unfortunately was not able to make it to the event. I know he was looking forward to it, but unfortunately he wasn't able to attend. All right, I guess we're about an hour in. We can wrap things up soon. Jack, what are you working on in your channel? When's the next video coming out, or who's your next guest, or what are you working on for your channel?
So next video should come out Thursday, and it's going to be the next series, the next video in the Western PA Meetup video series, and the next guest, I have to go back in time and look, but I believe the next guest that's coming on is a video I shot with Curtis a couple weeks ago. Will go live next. Either that or the one with Mikey, the Buzz tune.
All right, so if anyone hasn't, I'm sure most of you have, but there is Jack's YouTube channel in the chat. So go subscribe if you haven't yet. And Yasik, so what can we expect from you? I know you're attending the Vegas event. Yeah, so maybe, yeah, what are you hoping to get out of going to the Vegas event also?
So meet more people from our community that I've been talking on the live calls and private conversations, right? I think that's I've been to a lot of events throughout my time in business and real estate investing, and I think the connection that you make with people, that's the most powerful thing. But sometimes you have to go to the event to actually see people, right? That's the only time. Like we all have our own lives. We live in different parts of the country, if not the world, so it's hard to coordinate all that stuff. So that's what I'm looking. Meeting you guys in person, Mike. Listening to some speakers. I'm not a big fan of speaker presentations. I guess they're very, I would say, to a new investor, somebody I've been doing it. It's the same thing, and we have to hear it too. Maybe there's something nugget here or there that we're gonna learn from it. But it's mostly to meet up with the people, right? And looking for the Denny's whatever meetup, midnight meetup, and hopefully we do some night cruising with the crew. Staying out of trouble.
I'm looking forward to the coffee event that Brand's hosting.
Yep. So those of you that may not know, Brandon says he's not a late night person, so he's not sure if those midnight Denny's is going to work for him. So as of now, the Denny's event is still for Wednesday and Thursday evenings, and but Brandon is hoping to put together like a Friday coffee meetup. So looks like it might have like three icebreakers that are going on before the actual event on Saturday. So I'll definitely try to attend one of those if you are attending Vegas for the ORAD event. But yeah, to J6's point, me and him will probably be walking around making trouble at the event, not paying attention too much. But I'm definitely in that camp of where I mean, the speakers are great, but they are recorded, right? So I can always, if I do want to watch it later, I can always watch the recording later. But for me, I'm there to network and kind of meet people that maybe I've only met them online so far, but that's the fun part about it. Yeah, Hyderson, yeah, that's right. There's a coffee meetup also. So yeah, Brandon's trying to put something together Friday morning. So yeah, I should have like three icebreakers before the event, but definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, for me, so if you need somebody to hold you accountable to stuff or just talk to it, very flexible, but be careful for what you wish for, because I'll be the guy that holds you accountable to it if you say something.
Make sure you have rhino skin. If you're gonna call Yasik, make sure you have rhino skin.
I wouldn't even worry about it. That's personal. Feelings to the side, you know what I mean? I would say as I see it. So.
Jack,
It's something, right?
well, Jack, I do, like I said, I do want to say great job. I think you put together a great event. A lot of people had a lot of good feedback. I think a lot of people had a lot of fun. But yeah, hopefully, you're gonna put together another one. But I think definitely you did a great job on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely it was fun putting together, and I look forward to hopefully hosting another one in the future.
All right, so everyone, this was a long time trying to get this one together. Like I said, it was probably about, 2 months ago, actually, yeah, or no, a little over a month. But trying to get this recording so people could get a good idea of what the meetup was all about, or what went on, all the work that Jack did put into it, and a lot of the feedback from someone like Yasik who went there, kind of looking to see if it made sense for him to invest in the Pittsburgh market. So hopefully everyone got a lot of good takeaways from this, and I will see everyone. I'll be here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll be live streaming with the Deacon, Alex Deacon, who was one of the speakers at the event, Jack's event. But he's actually going to bring a lot of either some listings or before and after photos of some projects, birds they've worked on recently, to get people an idea of stuff that they've done. So yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'll be here with Alex. All right, everyone. Have a good afternoon, I guess, right? Rest of the day. And don't forget, Dion goes live. What time? 2 p.m., 1 p.m., 1 p.m. Pacific. No, 4 p.m. Pacific. So Dion should be going live today also. So everyone have a good rest of the day.